began a soldier in the battle, we're tried and true. Indiana, 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 we're all for you.
Welcome, everybody, to the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. I am your host for the Indiana Basketball Weekly Show, Mike Goodpaster. I want to welcome in my co-host from the Got Woodson Facebook page, Brian Mohr. How you doing, Brian?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm not staying up for the game, but it's been a fun weekend of sports, that's for sure.
Yeah, it sucks when you get really old, Brian. You can't stay up late for games. It would be nice if they'd start the game at like 8 o'clock, though.
Yeah. Central Coast, Central guys, you can see this game at 8:30. It's 9:30 my time.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
not
East
gonna.
Coast, so I can't see it at that time either. All right, we are going to look at the Indiana basketball team. There's a lot of reloading that'll have to be done here. Well, hopefully it's reloading. When we look at the portal and the NBA departures, you got Logan Duncombe, who I don't think anybody is really worried about. He was a guy that was hurdle out. We never really saw what he could do. Race Thompson, Miller Kopp, both graduated. Trace Jackson Davis going to the NBA, at least we assume he is. Jalen Hood-Schifino also. And then in the transfer portal, outside of Duncombe, you've got Tamar Bates and Jordan Geronimo. Do any losses here from the portal guys, which would be Geronimo, Bates, and Duncombe, really strike you as huge losses?
If I were to weight it, I would say Tamar, just because I think he's got the potential, he's got the energy, but the consistency lack. I always loved Geronimo's athleticism and energy, but he hasn't improved. And he at 6'6", if you can't be a three, uh, there's no place for him. That's my opinion. And of course, Logan, like you said, I mean, he's injured. The times we saw him was usually on cleanup duty on lesser teams. I gotta believe if he showed it in practice, we would have seen more of him on the court.
All right, so I believe we have 4 scholarship openings right now, correct?
Right. Well,
All right, real quick, Michael
four,
says.
four, assuming that Xavier gets the medical
Yeah,
red shirt.
which I assume he will, but you never know with the NCAA. We've got Michael Houghton, who says, "Good evening, guys. I took a power nap and ready to watch San Diego State beat UConn tonight. We hope," which I assume he means Becky and himself. So there you go. A power nap is all you need here, Brian, and you can watch the game.
I've got 5 dachshunds. There's no power naps around here.
You get those little dogs, all they do is bark all the time. All right,
Exactly.
so we do know that one player has been added to IU already. There's 4 open scholarships. Peyton Sparks from Ball State. Now, Sparks last year played 31 games, or this past year played for Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player. He averaged 13.3 points a game, 8.7 rebounds, 1.9 assists. He shot 58.8% from 2-point range, 40% from 3-point range. Now, the one issue I had was the free throw percentage, which was 52.5. But when you look back at his high school career, he was in the low 70s for that. And he was in his low 70s his freshman year at Ball State. And I know Michael Lewis had glowing things to say about Sparks.
Yeah, I guess if you go back to my throwback years when Knight wanted players that wanted to play at Indiana, that's what Sparks is. I mean, he wanted to play for Indiana coming out of his senior year in high school. It didn't happen. Um, I understand he went to he did the portal last year when he didn't know who was the coach going to be. Once Lewis came on, then he pulled out. But I think he's ready for a bigger game. I mean, he's got energy. I think he's going to be a great backup for Renew. Um, he kind of fits that mold, the big grinder in the middle. He's not a rim protector, but he's a good rebounder.
Yeah, and he's 6'9", 240 pounds. He was second team All MAC conference last year. He was primarily a post player. He's left-handed. Like I said, he shoots close to 60% from the field overall. He shot 2 of 5 from 3-point range, so let's not read too much into 40% 3-point shooting. He was third in the country in free throw rate, which he shoots a lot of free throws. Now, hopefully he will make them, but he shot at a free throw rate was 16th in the country. He drew an average of 7 fouls per 40 minutes. And when you look at him, His freshman year at Muncie, he was named the MAC Conference Player of the Year. I think this is a guy that could be more of a starter, but that'll also depend on what else Indiana's able to sign during this transfer portal time.
Well, that'll be a big question. Is Woody going to go his history and maybe have one big and then a bunch of 6'7", 6'6" combo guys on the outside, or is he going to go back to having two bigs and either a couple, two forwards and a guard or whatever? I mean, I just don't see. I don't see him knocking out Renew off the bat, but what you brought up, the fact that he's going to bring in something we've been missing, and that's guys getting onto the foul line by driving up into the paint. We haven't seen a lot of. We didn't see a lot of that this year at all. So I think that's something he brings, but is he talented enough to take Renault out for a starting spot? I'm not sure.
Well, also the decision by Sparks, he chose Indiana over Dayton, Ohio State, Georgetown, Florida, and many others. So he is a guy that was wanted by a lot of people. So
Right.
that's got to make you feel better too. Now,
Right.
the next guy we're going to talk about, I'll just let you introduce him because I know he's the guy you want more than I think anybody we've seen in this.
Would that be JB, Jamison Battle?
It would be.
That's a guy. It's kind of it's a love-hate for me because I hated him last couple of years at Minnesota. When he would kill us with the threes. He had a down year last year, but he was also on a shitty team last year. I think he fits Woody perfectly. He's 6'7" wing. He can shoot from three. He's quick. He's strong. The question is, does he want to come? I mean, everything's he's had a Zoom call, I believe, and there seems to be interest. But I think he'd be a fantastic 3 or 4 for Indiana next year.
Well, see, he's also considering his professional options too, from what I read earlier today. He's 6'7", 220. His 21-22 season was off the charts. He averaged almost 18
Right.
points a game. He shot 37% from three-point range. His numbers took a dip last year because he struggled with some foot and back injuries on a bad team this season. And he averaged just around 12 and a half points and shot
Right.
31.1%. And he's a guy that's transferred before because he was at George Washington in 2019. He played 2 seasons there. He earned a third team All-Atlantic Conference or All-Atlantic 10 conference honors for his sophomore season, where he averaged 17 points, shot 35.3 or 35.4 from three-point range. So he also entered the portal following the 2021 season. That's when he arrived at Minnesota. So when you look at this, his suitors so far include also Xavier, Clemson, Oklahoma, Iowa State, Utah, LSU, Ohio State, Illinois, Santa Clara, Nebraska. I could go on for much longer. So a lot of guys want him. And I would think when he talks about his professional thing, I mean, maybe he's talking about Europe because I don't know that he's an NBA guy right now. He'd probably have to go G League, D League, whatever they call it right now, to probably get to the NBA.
Well, I think if you look at what's coming in the NBA this year, this is a tough year to try to enter the NBA. I mean, when we talk about Shafino, the only thing I thought that might hold him back was, him being a lower first round pick compared to maybe a lottery pick. But from everything I'm reading, there's a lot of guys coming into the NBA this year, and next year might be a little bit lighter. So I think Battle's a 1 year guy. But the only thing I have read, and maybe you have more information, I haven't found it. The only conversation on Battle about him having conversations with a school is us. Now, maybe I've missed it somewhere, but I've only seen him talking about Indiana.
Yeah, so hopefully that means it's just Indiana or he wants to go pro. Michael Houghton says, can we or do we want Davidson from Michigan or the Minnesota kid? We obviously want Battle. I think with Davidson, I don't think that is an issue because I haven't seen anything saying that Indiana and Davidson had talked or that Indiana's interested.
Are you talking about Dickinson?
Yeah,
or
that's
Davidson?
what he's talking. I think he means Dickinson.
No, we don't want him. I don't want him.
I know. We don't want a guy that can play. I mean, that wouldn't fit. Bam. This is the thing, Brian. if Woody is the coach and he has control of his guys, if they bring him in, be happy because that means Woody thinks that he can coach him and the guy will listen. That's what I would say about that. You've got Juwan Howard in Michigan, and we know what Juwan Howard is. He's a moron. So I mean,
He doesn't coach, he directs. Yeah, I get
yeah,
it.
it's just like if I'm playing for a coach I like and respect, I'm less likely to act an ass. Where if I think that I'm the one running the show, which Hunter Dickinson obviously thought, then that's where you go. Michael also has another question. He says, do we promise him NIL money, LOL, or just have Mark Cuban call him up for Shark Tank?
Well, he's already making, what did I, well, I know it that On Three said he was somewhere around 175 grand last year.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could probably do more than that. I don't know. I don't question his skill set. I mean, the guy, the guy's a bruiser and he can shoot threes. I'm worried more about the culture fit of the group. I think I've seen stuff that he's done on the court, and he's kind of the Dennis Rodman of the Big Ten right now.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
He's not even close.
He's a dirty player. He's a fucking dirty player.
He's not a dirty player.
I saw him step
hard.
I saw him step on a guy. I can't remember what game it was.
Of course you can't because it's in your head.
No, it's not.
I know, you're right. There's nothing in your head. All right. So,
oh, here we go.
I'm just kidding.
By the way, how come we're on an Indiana page and you keep wearing that shitty Cincinnati Bengals hat?
Because I don't have an Indiana hat. Because where I live in
Indiana,
everybody.
Can I send you one?
You can send me, huh? I always take free stuff. Anybody that wants to send me free Indiana stuff, just make sure it's a hat that fits instead of your little Tykes hat.
I don't know. Your head's pretty big. I'm not sure we can find a hat that big.
Well, I've obviously got a hat that big. It's on my head, Brian. All right. Let's see. We got a comment, and that is from Joseph Michael, who says, ooh, UC. So Joseph Michael's a UC fan. They're going to the Big 12, so that ooh starts with a 0 or an O. That may be how many games they win in their conference play in the Big 12 next year. Ouch. So you never know. I mean, Xavier's problem is they can't even be the best team in the city they live in. At least Indiana's the best college team in Bloomington. And we spanked Purdue twice, so we own them too.
Yeah.
And I think that UC last beat Xavier back in the 1600s, but I'm not sure.
Cincinnati? Oh, come on. It was a little bit before that.
Cincinnati can't beat Xavier, though. I mean, what has been 40 years of domination, it all kind of runs together. All right, let's get back to the transfer portal. What do you think? What's your take on Caleb Love? I mean, Caleb Love seems to be the guy that everybody wants. What do you think about Caleb Love from North Carolina? He's a guy that was playing in the national championship a year ago tonight.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know all the inner workings of what happened in North Carolina last year, but if you look at him the year they went to the final, he's an energy guy. He's not afraid to shoot. Some people say, well, yeah, he's a ball hog. Well, you know what? We need somebody who's not afraid to shoot. It doesn't matter if he can make it, if he can shoot the threes.
Wait a second. I got something that confuses me here. Robert Stewart just put the Reds are up 4-4.
Who the hell cares?
How is that possible to be up 4-4, though?
Maybe he meant up 4 in the fourth inning.
Okay, they're playing the Cubs, so as long as they beat the Cubs, nobody.
Oh, he would bring it up. Okay, let me get my Cubs hat.
You got a Cubs hat? Well, you can wear your Cubs hat. I mean, Indiana.
It's an Indiana program. Come on, I'm not going to wear my Cubs hat on an Indiana program.
Well, I don't have an Indiana hat. Leave me the hell alone. I got an Indiana shirt on.
Underneath the sweatshirt, I've got my.
I've got the Indiana. Look, it's Indiana.
Okay. Well, I've got in honor of Coach. In honor of Coach, I Miss Bobby Knight shirt.
Oh, I need one of those. You need to send me one of those. I mean, my problem is I stopped buying all Indiana stuff once they fired Bobby Knight because that's just bad. And luckily, Coach seems like he's doing better. I heard that he's headed back home. So everybody keep your prayers in there. And the thing that really impressed me is the biggest Purdue page I'm on, and I'm on all the pages, like share my articles and stuff. And there was somebody on there that said, we should all pray for Bob Knight, even though he was our rival. and there was like 3,000 comments with everybody with prayers for Coach. So I thought that was pretty impressive.
That's a good thing. I mean, I think we're kind of both ways on that. I mean, a lot of people think the rivalry with Keedy is what brought the Purdue Indiana to the forefront as far as a big rivalry. And I think a lot of people think highly of Keedy too. But on what you're saying with Coach, the only thing that worries me is, Pat's. If I read Pat's comment right, the family is asking for privacy. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what that means.
So we're not going to conjecture any more on that one, Brian. We'll just
No,
let
I
that
know.
one.
I'm just worried. Just worried.
Yeah. But
So
all right, transfer
go
portal,
back. Go
Caleb
back.
Love.
Who else? Who else are we going to talk about?
Caleb
How about
Love.
your guy? How about your
I
guy
thought we were
that
going
you
to
like?
talk. We didn't talk about Caleb Love yet.
I did. It's your turn.
Well,
I
my
would. I
concern
think.
with
I think.
him, was in January, and just the problems they had on that team. I'm not a North Carolina fan, so I don't know a lot about it, but I do know it was him and one other player, and there was a lot of things that happened there that kind of killed the continuity of a team that was ranked number one in the country at one point.
Right. But that affected the whole team.
Yeah.
I mean, look at when we played North Carolina and beat them. Um, what's his name? Blaylock, Baycock. I forgot his last name.
Yeah.
Trace owned him that night, and not too many people own that guy. So I mean, that whatever is going on, I think it's bigger than two players. I know there's been rumors, but that's all it
Well,
is.
and a lot of those things, guys just take sides too, though. So it's two players, but it ends up being the entire team that gets split by it.
Right. But I think what I'm
So,
saying is it may be there's something going on in that squad, and you would hope that if he comes here with a fresh start, we're going to see more of what we saw that kid the year they went to the finals the year before.
yeah, and the thing about that year, they went to the finals. He averaged 18.8 points in the tournament. In his three best games of the season came in the tournament. He scored 30 against UCLA, 28 against Duke, 23 against Marquette. He earned all Final Four and all East regional selections. And you also out there, guys, you may recall that Love as an Indiana recruiting target starting back in 2018. He came to
Mm-hmm.
Bloomington on an unofficial visit September of 19, and he had Indiana among his six final schools with Missouri, Kansas, North Carolina, Louisville, and Arizona. And it looks like right now, from everything I've been hearing and everything that I've read, that Caleb Love is down to picking between Missouri and
Missouri and
Indiana.
Indiana. That's what I've read too. I guess the only thing I would say is, I mean, not knowing his reasons for moving on, that's the only downside to these portals. We don't know what the situation of all these people are, but um, I'm sure Missouri's got a shot. I mean, what? He's from St. Louis, right?
Yeah. But once
So,
again, my thing is this: if it was such a big deal to go back home, wouldn't he have already transferred there? So I think there's still a shot here. Robert Stewart says how many guards we need.
as many as we can get.
Yeah, because I mean, if you watch the NCAA tournament, guards are what wins in the tournament, whether it was 1990 or 2000 or 2023. We've got
What?
another one here. We've got Michael who says we need a great guard plus X in case he gets hurt or injured again. I think everybody's forgetting about Gabe Cups here, Brian.
Yeah. I mean, you and I differ. I think Cups before the end of the year will be the starting point guard. I think if my bet is that Woody eases him in, but I can't see him being the second point guard by the end of the season. He's just too good.
Well,
He's smart.
and I mean, Xavier could play a shooting guard, don't you think? If you're running a 3 or 4 guard offense.
Yeah, but look, if you get Caleb Love, are you going to make a 3 guard offense or a 2 guard
I
offense?
would love to make a 3 guard offense with the three of those.
So well, that would be fine with me too. I
Yeah.
mean,
So, I mean, I like guards. It's not
same here.
1978 in the NBA. So, all right. Let's see. We go back down here. The guy that stands out to me is Shedrick, the kid from Virginia. What are your thoughts on Caden Shedrick?
If from what I'm reading, I mean, at my first, what my first comment was about. I mean, he's a poor man's Benson, but He looks like he's a rim protector. He's got good mobility. What 6'11". So I just don't know how he would. I like his stats. I just don't know. I'm not 100% sure. How does he fit in the group? If you make him a starter, what are you going to do? Are you going to put Malik on a forward?
Oh, Malik. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that that's something you would have to do. But I think also this. I think Woody's offense is going to turn out to be whatever players he gets and what best suits that. The thing I like about Shedrick is this. All right, he shot 64.7% from the field. He shot
Right.
almost 80% from the free throw line. And to
Right.
this point in his career, he has not been a big 3-point shooter. He's only shot like 6 or 7 from long range. He has a shot chart that is similar to Jackson Davis, with almost 80% of his shots coming at the rim. But he does
Right.
convert 77% of those. His efficiency drops off considerably away from the rim. I like him if we can find enough guards to put around him. We've seen this. Florida Atlantic get the big kid. What was his name? I don't even remember his name, but the big tall kid. UConn's got a big guy. So
Right.
people keep saying, you can't win with. You can win with big guys as long as you got guards that can shoot from the outside and loosen things up for them.
Yeah,
And
but I
that
read.
is what Trace never had.
But I read that Shedrick. I mean, during the season, Virginia went to a smaller lineup, and he spent a lot of time on the bench. It wasn't until the tournament that they brought him back in, and then he started performing again. So
He was performing before that. They changed the way they played. He's still, with getting shorter playing time, ranked fifth
right,
in the entire ACC in block shots. And he has a 10.5% block rate, which is actually higher than what Trace Jackson's Davis
Davis
rate
did.
was.
Oh yeah, he's
So,
a rim protector. He's definitely a rim protector.
yeah, and I think you need a rim protector because the other thing we talk about all these guards drive to the basket. You need a big guy there that can kind of turn them away, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
I don't think he is definitely we got to have him. And I will tell you this: I think Jamison Battle, from everything I've watched in the last few days, is probably no doubt he's a better player, and he fits the style of play we both want him to play. But
right.
I think having this guy to me, if you're going to run Malik inside, if you're going to run two guys inside, we still need another guy, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, we've got Sparks though,
We got Sparks, we've got Shedrick. If you
and
use
you've got
Shedrick,
Banks, and
yeah.
you've got
So
Banks.
right there, you've got four guys, and you should be good on the inside because I do believe that you do need somebody defensively inside. And
Right.
I think that is a bigger deal to me than anything else. Hold on, we got a bunch of questions here. Hold on.
The rest of North Carolina transferred. What?
No, a lot of most of the team transferred.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Puff Johnson's on our list. We never talked about him.
Okay, what's up with our CJ Gunn? Michael says.
I energy wise, I like him. His shooting was horrendous this year. I'm not sure why. Um, I wouldn't rule the kid out. I mean, he's athletic, he's quick. Um, for whatever reason, his shot was not falling this year. I mean, what was he like? 30% from the 2 point and 10% from the 3 point. I mean,
Yeah,
it was terrible.
it wasn't great.
But I still think if they can figure out his shooting, I still think he has a shot. Maybe it depends on who they bring in. I mean, I can't see Gunn coming in and playing a small forward this year. I could see it next year, but or your 3 guard offense. But if we get all the guards we're talking about, I'm not sure how much room there's going to be for Gunn to play except for a backup role.
Yeah. Now another guy that I like, and I like him more than Shedrick now too. Once I've watched all these, is Chris Ledlam. This is a 6'6", 225-pounder. He was a
The kid out
unanimous
of
first
Harvard.
team.
Yeah.
Unanimous first team All Ivy League player. You know he's going to be smart. He averaged 19 points, almost 9 rebounds, 2 steals, more
Right.
than 1 block a game. He shot 47% from the field. He made 30% of his 126 three-pointers, and he converted 65% from the free throw line, which worries me a little bit, but it is
But
what it is.
he likes to mix it up inside too. He's not going to afraid to
Yeah, he was the
drive.
centerpiece of their offense.
Right. And if he can
And
drive in the lane and draw fouls, then we would have, potentially a couple of guys who can actually start drawing
And
fouls.
the other thing about Ledlum is this: he is a very high energy player.
Right. I
And
like him. I actually like him over. I don't know if we were going to talk about Timberlake or not, but I'm not a.
well, I like him over Sparks. I mean, Ledlum to me is a game changer if you get him.
Well, he did a in-home visit, but I haven't heard anything more since. That was
Yeah, we haven't heard anything since. The other thing that stood out when I looked up his stats with Ledlum, which really made me like him, is in 16 career games against Ken Palm top 75 teams, Ledlum
yeah,
made 54% from 2-point range. He only hit
right.
27% from three, but he scored 17 points. He had 9 rebounds in Kansas this season. And we all know, hell, did Indiana score 17 points at Kansas? Because it didn't seem like we did.
I don't know if
So,
anybody scores. Well, maybe Trace, but I don't think anybody. I don't remember. I'm trying to forget that game.
well, everybody from Texas seems to be able to score on Kansas, though. You were talking about Nick Timberlake, who is a guard. He actually did an in-home visit.
Right.
What's your take on him?
I mean, I was looking. But first of all, he's a one and done for us, right? He's a four
Yeah,
year
but we can
player.
restockpile this through the transfer portal next year, so it's not that big a deal.
Do you want to keep doing that?
It's
You don't know
what
what's going to be out
everybody's
there
going to
next.
have to keep doing.
Well, he's
I
a
mean,
6'4"
really,
guard.
it is.
Who's he going to take over for?
Who, Timberlake?
Yeah.
Who's he got to tell you? I mean, number one, are pretty much all of our guards are gone, aren't they?
Okay.
Except
If
we
you've
can
got
get
X,
Xavier back, probably.
if
You
you
got
if you
Gunn.
right, if you got X, you got Cups. Um, who was the other guy we were talking about? Oh shoot,
Well, we don't have any of those
Caleb
anymore.
Love. If we got Caleb Love, and then we have X, and Cups. Plus, don't forget we got Newton. We're not even talking about.
We're going to. We'll put it
So
like
there.
this. Right now, I mean, I would rather have Timberlake than Xavier.
Then who?
I would rather
And,
have Timberlake than X.
but see, I disagree. He knows X knows the game. X
Damn.
knows Woody's game.
X knows Woody's game. Then why
He
didn't we
does.
win with him?
Huh?
Why didn't we win?
Well, you don't think his contributions towards the end of the season last year?
So
He
did
was talking.
Geronimo, but you're good with him being gone.
Well, only because I just don't think he was going to get
All
to
right,
the next
I
level.
can tell you this. When you watch Timberlake, he averaged 18 points, 4 rebounds a game. He shot 45% from the field. He shot 42% from 3 on 221 attempts. He shot 85% from the free throw line. If you would rather have Xavier Johnson, that's fine. I'll take Timberlake and we can play each other and we'll win because you're 6
Okay,
and
well,
5.
how has he got 5 seasons in and has another year eligibility?
Who?
Timberlake.
He had a COVID year and he had an injury year. Same reason Xavier does. If he
Okay, that was
does.
his 2018 season. He had an
Yeah, because
injury.
remember the COVID added this up. The kid from Iowa played for 47 years, it seemed like. But
No,
the thing about Timberlake, the numbers I just gave you, Brian, against Ken Palm top 75 teams, 47% from 3 against top 75 opponents, 55% from 2. He's 6'4", he's 205 pounds, and he is one of the more heavily recruited guys here. You got Memphis, Ohio State, Maryland, Butler, North Carolina, Florida, Illinois, Auburn, UConn, Xavier. I mean, so most big-time programs here are wanting this kid for a reason. And we've only got X for one more year if we've got him anyways. And I'm not trying to rip X. I'm just saying when I watch them, this kid to me is more dependable.
Well, they're the same size because he's 6'4" and isn't X 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah, only this kid is a much better shooter and he doesn't turn the ball over near as much. And like I said, I'm not trying to rip X, but the Timberlake kid plays hard too, Mike. And when I look at this, Timberlake also, as Michael Houghton says, Timberlake's not injury prone other than a few years back. So
Well, it's his freshman year. I just looked it up, and
yeah,
his freshman year he only played 9 games. So
yeah. And Timberlake is not the Harvard grad, Robert. Timberlake is from Towson. I think I forgot to add that. I'm sorry about that.
yeah,
But I think that Timberlake, when you look at him, is there's no baggage with Timberlake. Put it like that.
But what have we done with this guy? It's kind of the same thing, right? We did a Zoom or a port in-home visit and heard nothing from him. Yeah, we did an in-home visit same day that we had an in-home visit with Ledlow.
Yeah. So I don't think you're going to hear much on the 26th. You know, that was the 26th is when they did the in-home visit.
Right.
Townsend Guard and Ledlum were both the 26th. Battle was the 28th. Shedrick was the 29th. I
Right.
really think this. I think Shedrick is a guy that is probably 5 or 6 players down the list. If we don't get this guy or that guy, then maybe we go after him, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But to me, when I look at these guys, you've already got Sparks. If you could give me, you know, Jamison Battle,
And then
Chris
3 guards.
Ledlum, and Nick Timberlake, I will take my chances.
Okay, so wait, let's play devil's advocate. Let's say we get Battle. You get your boy Timberlake. All right, assuming X comes back, you still got 2 more open positions. Who do you want? You want guards or forwards at that point?
It's according to who they are, because a forward like Battle's a shooter. It's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah. So when we look at that, and you've already got Ja'Kai Newton coming too, if you want to talk a little bit about Ja'Kai.
Well, I mean, I think he's going to be. I think he's got a shot at. I mean, if we, as much as you think Cups is our next point guard, I think Ja'Kai could be our next 2 guard because the boy can shoot and he's fast. He's what 6'4", 6'5".
Hey, so could Demazi Anderson in high school, so it doesn't always mean anything.
Yeah, well, Woody didn't record Demazi Anderson, did he?
It doesn't matter because a lot of people wanted him, though. It wasn't just IU that wanted him.
Which school is he playing at now? Didn't he transfer again?
I don't even know.
He transferred like one other time after he left Indiana, went somewhere else. I forgot where it was. And then
I mean, the good thing about him is this. I mean, he had offers from Xavier and Alabama, and then he chose Indiana over Xavier and Alabama. So, I mean, those are 2 teams that were ranked higher than Indiana this year. So that tells me he wants to be a Hoosier for some reason. My guess would be that would be because of Woody.
Well, and that's what we want is guys who want to come here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was paying him a compliment.
I know. I'm just not used to hearing you compliment anybody.
I compliment everybody, but I will say this: there's a difference between shooting in high school and shooting in college.
Oh, exactly.
So we're really not going to go with him until we see it.
Well, you know,
and the other thing,
but you're willing to give Cups that. You're going to give Cups that, though.
Yeah, I do. But the other thing about Cups is he's a point guard, and he's going to still be able to dribble and pass the ball, so he'll be able to do something. But my question is this, though: with the transfer portal, and you got a guy like Cups, and you got Newton. If you come in and you've all of a sudden signed 3 or 4 studs and they're sitting on the bench,
you redshirt them.
Well, then the worry is they get tired of that and they transfer portal next year, whether you redshirt them or not.
Well, and that's the problem in this age that we're living in now with the transfer portal and the way they making it easier and easier for these guys to leave. I know we were going to talk about that later on.
Well, we may even save that for next week's show, if you know what I mean, because we've already went like 40 minutes just talking about guys we could get. So we can always save that for next week also. What other players did you want to talk about here? I know there was at least one other one you brought up.
Yeah, the kid from Marshall, Mika Hanlington.
Mika Hanlington.
Yeah.
See, I don't even think we should go after him because the problem is when we're doing this show next year, we're going to have to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
So this is why I don't do like.
Well, look,
that's why I don't do NHL shows.
But he's got 3 years of eligibility. He's 7-1.
Yeah, so that's 3 years. We'll be able to figure out his name by then. Is the one good thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, he didn't. I mean, he played in all 32 games for Marshall.
Well, I can tell you this.
Go ahead.
He really likes NC State, and he said that the NC State offer was unreal.
Who?
Hanlington.
Yeah. Hanlington.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mika. Let's just say Mika. It's easier.
Yeah, if that's how you say it. Yeah.
No, and that's fine. But again, we're still. I mean, let's assume for a moment, for the sake of argument, the only other guy that we didn't talk about, is that Kawasi Reeves from Florida, the guard.
Yeah. Well, what's your take on him? Because I thought we were still talking about Micah.
I'm jumping off of Micah because you said North Carolina State's going to
Well, Micah, hold on. Micah is a 7'1" center.
Right.
He had a great season last year. He's entered in the transfer portal. He was named a Sun Belt Conference Freshman of the Year. He averaged 8 points, 10 rebounds, a little over 2 block shots.
Right.
Only 10 players in D1 averaged more blocks than what Micah did. Now I just figured out how if we get him where we just call him Micah. And he ranked 16th. He ranked 16th nationally in rebounding average.
Right.
And
as a freshman,
he had 315 rebounds in his first season of college basketball.
That's pretty good.
But I thought you were against big guys. I'm just kidding. I know you'll have one, but you don't want more.
Well, no, I mean, if it's kind of, to me, if you're saying, you like Shedrick from Virginia, if we can't get him, then let's go after Mika. It's a kind of an either or thing. I don't think we need both.
I would take Mika just because of the 3 years.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, what Shedrick's
Yeah.
Shedrick's got what, 1 year left or 2?
No, I think Shedrick is only 1, isn't he? I'm
I
not.
thought he was a
100% sure.
one more year, and that was it.
I think he is. Michael Houghton says, I would love to have Reeves from Florida. He is good and fast. And as you saw, we could always use to get faster at Indiana University basketball because when you look at the teams that were playing in the Final Four, there was a definite divide between them and most Big Ten teams, if not all Big Ten teams.
The problem with him is I've watched some of his games.
We're talking about Reeves, right?
Yeah, and he is quick. He's streaky, though. He's kind of like, I hate to use the analogy.
Shafino?
Yeah. I mean,
I knew where it was going.
Yeah. But the kid is aggressive. If he could improve some of his stats, I mean, his stats aren't the greatest, but at 6'6", he's not afraid to go to the rim either. I want to see more guards who are not afraid to attack the rim.
Well, the thing, he's 6'6", 182 seems a little light to me.
Okay, but what are some of the 6'7s? What's Battle? He's like 220?
Yeah, that's a big damn difference.
Yeah.
So that would worry me a little bit.
But you want fast guards, don't you, Mike?
I want fast guards, but I want them to be knocked over if it gets windy out. Of course, the games are played inside, so we should be all right. But last year, Reeves averaged 7.1 points a game,
right.
2 rebounds, half an assist. He's played 60 games, 17 starts at Florida. I am not blown away by it. He would not be one of my top guys that I would be looking to get if I was Indiana right now. Michael says he's very good on D. Robert Stewart says, I like the true wing. We have not had one forever.
Are you talking about the 3 spot, Robert?
I'd assume he was, yeah.
Well, if we get Battle, we'll officially have a 3.
Well, we don't have him yet.
If we get Battle, we will officially have a 3 for once.
All right. Anything else we want to talk about here when we look at the transfer portal? Or do you expect any other players to possibly enter the portal, Brian?
I have a feeling there will be. There was a lot. Was it over 600 now in the portal?
Yeah. From Indiana.
Oh, no. I think we're done in Indiana. I think.
Yeah. I think, is there anybody you would worry about? Because I would think the younger guys would have already went into it if they were going to go.
Well, let's put it this way. I think of the two, Leo's not going anywhere. Leo's going to graduate from Indiana. You've got Gunn and Banks. Banks got some decent playing time towards the end of the year, and he proved he can play. Thing we haven't seen from him yet that he did in high school is he could shoot threes.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that yet. So I think we'll see Banks is going to have a lot more minutes next year. The question mark for Gunn is it's a matter of will he live up to what he was playing at the high school level. If he can, I think honestly, I think Geronimo and Bates. Woody. He has that recap with each player right after the season. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if he told both those guys, "Hey, I don't think you're going to get much playing time next year."
Yeah.
He wouldn't.
I definitely could have seen him doing that with Geronimo.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think.
Just because he didn't get much playing time this year.
Yeah.
Michael says we need battle. And Michael says Gunn can mature and get better. According to what they signed in the portal, though, there may not be a lot of room for him, Brian.
For Gunn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see unless he wants to go to a mid-major. I don't see him going to another, Power 5 school.
Florida Atlantic's a mid-major, and it worked out all right for them.
Yeah,
that seems to be happening more and more.
Here we go again.
Nowadays.
The guy had one good. I love Dusty May. I'm happy for him.
He'll be better next year, Brian.
What was his 5 years before? Barely over
5 years before.
He's been at
So you don't. What were his 5 years before? You obviously know if you brought it up.
Well, he's been there since 2018.
Yeah.
Basically, his record prior to this year has been barely over 500.
Yeah.
So, is this a flash in the pan, or is he?
I would say this though. I mean, we've seen this happen before in mid majors turn into major players. I mean, we saw it with Gonzaga and Mark Few. We saw it
a little bit with Dayton.
Well, Dayton's still a good team. I mean, the bad thing that sucks for Dayton is they may have won the national championship if they'd have played one in 2020. Loyola is still a competitive program, but not great.
Right.
Other mid-majors we've seen, I mean, we saw Xavier go from the Missouri Valley, from the Midwest Collegiate Conference to, in a 20-year span, go to 6 or 8 Final Eights and end up in the Big East. We've seen teams do it before. And Dusty May's team looks really well coached. And the other thing is this, with this transfer portal now, they just got a ton of airtime on TV. And that conference, I mean, they were the most successful conference in the postseason. They won the NIT. They were the runner-up in the NIT. They won the CBI, and they had a team in the Final Four.
Well, and plus they're in Florida. And everybody wants to come to Florida except you, Mike.
I want to come to Florida. You just told me it was $2,000 to have a place to live.
Yeah, well, it ain't cheap to live in paradise, dude.
If it's paradise, why'd they let you in? Michael said Butler needs help at our leftovers. No, they don't. I mean, Butler since 2000 and now has had a better program than Indiana, so they can
Butler had a bad year.
Fall apart.
Yeah, Butler had a bad year last year.
Yeah, they can fall apart, though. They've been to more Final Fours than us, more NCAA tournaments in this century. I mean, I don't want to hear poor Butler.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they played back-to-back national championship games.
Who said poor Butler? Was that?
It was Michael Houghton.
Michael, shut up.
Look at this. Come on, Michael. Say poor Indiana State. They won 22 games this year, and then almost the entire team. I think even half the students got in the transfer portal.
Where do you think Geronimo's going to go?
Where do I think? I have no idea who wants him.
I think he goes back to the East Coast. I bet he lands with a Big East team.
I don't know. The Big East is pretty loaded. I don't know if anybody needs him. What about a team like Xavier then?
Possibly.
Xavier, took a IU player a year or two ago and did pretty damn good with him this year, right?
Okay, he can have him.
And that is the Big East.
Miller can have him. That's fine. Or he can go to Rhode Island and play for the other Miller.
Yeah, I think he'd probably rather go to a top 15 program instead of Rhode Island. I'm just guessing here.
What?
Just guessing. But, I mean, Xavier lost a lot of players off of this team. And with Miller there, they're in the Big East. They're still going to be good no matter what.
Yeah, he's going to bring that. He's going to make that team tough. There's no question. I mean,
well, they already are. Hell, they were in the Sweet 16. And I think that our conversation about the Big 12 being the best conference, really, if you look at it, the Big East was the best conference.
Right.
Because you've had a team that is probably going to win a national championship tonight. Sorry about that, Michael, but they probably are. Because really, this UConn program, people miss it. People talk about blue blood programs, Kentucky, Duke. since 1999.
It's been
UConn has had the best basketball program in the country.
right.
If they win it all tonight, they'll have 5. The closest competitor has 3. And the thing is, they did it. Nobody even realized they did.
Who was that? Who was that coach back in the late '90s?
Jim Calhoun.
Calhoun, yeah.
Well, he was there till a couple of years ago, and then shit got a little hairy because he cheated and he got caught.
Mhm.
So he retired for health reasons, similar to Urban Meyer, only he didn't come back because I think he actually had health reasons. But when you what? Big 12 is like Duke is Duke. What the hell
What?
does that mean, Mike?
Big 12 was like Duke is Duke. Michael, put down the beer.
He took a nap. If he drinks the beer, he's still going to fall asleep by halftime. Come on, Mike. But, I mean, when you look at it, UConn has turned into an elite program. And when you look at the Big East, you had what? You had a team in a national championship game.
Right.
You had 3 altogether in the Sweet 16.
Right.
And the team that was the best team during the season, Marquette, lost in the second round of the tournament.
Exactly.
So, Michael, that makes
Oh, here we go
worse.
again. What's Michael saying now?
Michael says no beer. It's rum now.
Oh, I'm with you
has a
there,
good
buddy.
Update. Robert has a good update. Reds 7, Cubs 6.
No, that's 7 Cubs to 6 Reds.
No, it's 7-6 Reds. You're from Florida now.
Robert hasn't said anything right yet, so I mean,
Actually, he just did because I just looked it up. The Reds are up 7-6,
Okay.
smacking the Cubs as those 2 teams battle to see who may be able to beat out the Pirates for 3rd place.
No.
All right, guys,
You're a jerk.
we're gonna wrap it up. We are gonna come back next Tuesday night at 7:00, and we're gonna look at the NIL. And I know me and what's your name again? Brian are getting
Timmy.
I was reading
Tim.
Michael's thing.
Yeah.
I was reading Michael's thing at the same time. I almost called you Michael, but that's me, Will, and Michael. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk NIL and transfer portal, whether it's good or bad for basketball. We will be back next Tuesday night. It'll be right around 7:30. We'll finalize the time, let everybody know. I would like to thank everybody. This is our second most listened to live show for this season or this past year of Indiana basketball. The only show that was more was, I believe, the one either before the Miami game or the one right after the Big Ten championship game.
Okay.
Also, don't forget Michael Houghton's IU Red Chair group because they're always watching. We appreciate you guys. And also check out Brian's Got Woodson Facebook page. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell notification button on YouTube. And if you want to bet on the game tonight, go on the YouTube link for BetMGM. Hit that up. That's our top recommended site for betting on the national championship game tonight. Brian, you've got a Twitter, don't you?
Yeah. BK Mohr in Florida. What are you doing?
Can you hear me?
I don't trust you.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, because my mic came unplugged.
Oh. Well,
but
maybe your computer actually has a mic that actually works.
Oh, yeah, yours doesn't. You need some headphones, by the way. You would sound better.
I had headphones, and you told me they didn't work worth a shit.
Well, I mean, don't buy the ones for $2 at the dollar store.
No, that's what you told me to buy.
I never told you to buy $2 ones at the dollar store.
Okay,
I
you
said
did $5
ones at the big lots for $6. Actually, my microphone was actually $3.99 at, I think, the dollar store. So, not my microphone, but my headphones. I'm sorry.
That next Tuesday's conversation is going to be very interesting because I know you and I are going to debate the hell out of this.
And Michael says he also has an Instagram for the Red Chair group. So go check that out. Make sure you like and subscribe to us on everything you possibly see us, because who doesn't want to see Brian's face? But we're going to go ahead. We're going to wrap the show up. Check out The Grueling Truth at Grueling Truth on Twitter. Check us out on Facebook, The Grueling Truth, of course. But for now, for Brian Mohr, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been watching and listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legend